We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Cornbread!
I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid, what is going on? It's a Friday. It's a TGIF for Grifka. He's back in the building. Grifka, I just stole your catchphrase. We're talking Lions. What the heck's going on, buddy?
Like you said, man, TGIF, man, it's Friday. Weekend's right around the corner.
That's always a good thing, man. I don't know if there's a harder working podcast, man. We say we're the people's, we're the Detroit Lions fans podcast, and nobody's dropping 2, 3, 4 shows a week. I mean, Grifka, I'm on 3 shows a week minimum, and then I'm giving the people bonus content too. I mean, we're pumping out the podcast for the people.
Yeah, it's that time of year though. You know, like football's right around the corner. You know, summer's coming, so it's nice to get the content out there.
Yeah, just imagine what I might come up with when there's actual football games going on. But we know, you'll still at least just show up for the show. I mean, I can't count on you for much else, right?
Oh, I might break down some other stuff. So,
all right, you're on the billboard. Isn't that what you told me last time?
Yeah, my face on the billboard.
Oh boy, that's not good for traffic. All right, let's dive into this, man. What are we doing again? We're doing another mailbag, right?
Yeah, I was going to have a rant today, but we'll save that for another show because I know that people like it when I start complaining about other teams that get all the pub and how the Lions get dissed by everybody out there in media land. But let's not do that, man. Let's go with the positive, answer some more questions from the mailbag.
So you just teased the Grifka rant, but you're not going to give it to the people. You're going to make them come back to hear you go on and on about something.
Yeah, so that means I have to figure out next week if I want to do 2 rants or just one. So
the
Grifka, I missed one, you gotta make it up.
Grifka rants, 1 aren't bad and 2 are good because it just stirs me up. Then I have to yell at you about your rant, and then you rant at me about the rant that I just did on you, and it becomes a whole show. So
yeah, that can be a good and or bad thing. So.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Okay, let's just jump right in the bag here. So First one comes from For the C stands for cool breeze, and that's at Easy Does It 2027.
Right.
It's kind of like reading the license plate right there.
Easy does.
So question is, who will win more games for us, the offense or the defense?
Oh, man. Easy does it, 27. I love this question. I love that you're taking kind of a different approach of, who's going to be more dominant? Like, what are we going to look at come maybe early season and say, wow, Lions can hang their hat on this? I mean, I think it's definitely got to be the defense. We've said it many times on this show, barring everybody being back and ready to rock and roll, they should lean on their defense. And, man, Grifka, I think the offense is the big elephant in the room, the big question mark. I mean, are you expecting explosive, great creative things, or are you thinking that you're going to be frustrated, as you often are, by week 8?
I'm hoping for the ground and pound method, though it sounds like they want to do, to work. So it will lead to those play action plays where Marvin Jones, Galladay, maybe your boy Fulgham can use their speed, get downfield, and have those big explosive plays. It seems that the Lions have been lacking the last couple of years since your boy Calvin left.
It's funny you bring it up because, like I said, I was just thinking the other day, like, remember when I said on the show that, like, we've never had in my lifetime as a Lions fan a bang it, run it, play hard defense type of team. It's always been like, oh, let's get weapons, let's throw it around, let's get gadget players. I mean, that would be fun, wouldn't it, for us to just come in and just absolutely hurt people for the first 6-8 games, and people be like, oh my, the Detroit Lions are coming into our house and we don't like it.
Yeah, the best thing about that, like if you have a team like that, there's always a point in the game where you just break the other team's spirit,
right? And
they just don't want to be there anymore. And there's always a point in the game where you can tell it happens. And actually, the best show I've ever seen do that is the NFL Network when they do the turning point, because they always show clips and then they always show like the major one. It just seems like the backbreaker. So it's fun to watch that.
That'd be tremendous. And like you said, I don't even know if I would know what to do with myself if we became that type of football team with a lot of grit, a lot of just nastiness. That would be great. Like, as much as we've talked about Stafford and, I'd love to see him bounce back, I wouldn't even care what his stats were. If I just knew we were going to come in and maul people every week, that'd be great.
Yeah, I would like it also where we don't have to be like worried that the defense is on the field late in the game. Like, okay, just leave us time where Stafford can go down and do some miracle thing where just like, there's like 3 minutes left in the game. The other team needs to like drive the field and they go like 3 and out or like 4 and out or something. They get like 1 first down, but they really don't put anything together. And it's like the defense is out there putting pressure on them, stopping everything. That would be really nice to see out of this defense.
Right. So to put a quick bow on this, like, I think the defense will sort of quote unquote win us more games, but I think it'd be really fun, as Grifka just noted, if the offense could finish and win games where like the defense takes care of it, they get it back to our offense with 4-6 minutes left, and we just pound them into the ground, take the kneel down. That'd be great. But yeah, hopefully they'll work together. But let's lean on our D and get this offense rolling. Run or pass, doesn't matter. So
exactly. Next question comes from Corey Legros. That's at silver_rush67. Are the Lions good with QB Savage leading this team if Stafford goes down due to injury, or do you see a more seasoned backup coming in?
I'm a proponent and have been for a while of sort of, the backup quarterback's so tricky because you don't really want to put a bunch of resources into it, and we've been fortunate that Stafford stayed out there. But I guess over the last couple of years, I've sort of been like, man, I'd really love to see a little bit better football player there so that, there doesn't have to be a ruthless competition, but just a guy that's really making plays on the practice field, keeping Stafford honest. And we've always just sort of had a lackey back there. But I like what Savage brings to the table, to be honest. He seems to have a better than average arm. He's somewhat of a vet. He seems like a guy that, like, he has started and has wanted to play, but now he's sort of in this role. So I'm pretty good with Tom Savage. I think we could be fine with him. I don't think there's many other better options out there. And even if there was a really good option, like, I think we've sort of come to the fact that you're going to live or die with number 9 until you're not. And right now we are, and I think you'll get the job done. So the backup is sort of just a clipboard holder, help me with tape type of guy. And I think Savage will actually do well in that role.
Get the bell out. I agree with you on that. I know a lot of people always just want like some dominant backup, but you only play one quarterback, and that guy, just your backup, just needs to be serviceable. And I think Tom Savage is more than serviceable. I know we always say it, if Stafford goes down, the Lions are in trouble. It's almost that way with like any team. I mean, sometimes you get lucky and your backup can carry you. I mean, we've seen it happen with the Philadelphia Eagles, but that's more of the anomaly than the norm. So I think Savage is a capable backup. If Stafford goes down, I don't think he's going to lead you to any shootouts or anything like that. So that would be one where you're going to want your running game to really carry you at that point.
Yep, I agree.
Next question comes from To Hail Mary, I Ain't Lying, forward down the field, at L Amos_Mary. This is a good question. I like this one. Do you think the majority of wins will come in the first or second half of the season?
Yeah, this is kind of like the first one, just a unique approach on it. I mean, the easy answer, and the answer I hope most Lions fans have, is we don't care when they come, how they come. We just want victories. So first half of the season, last end of game, win by 40, it doesn't matter. If I have to pick one here, I mean, I want these wins in the back half of the season. I love what Matt Pats had to say about, this weird Patriots approach where, like, they're not even too worried about the big preseason or the beginning of the year, to be honest. Probably those first 4 games plus the preseason are kind of like, hey, let's get ourselves rolling. Let's continue to get ourselves into shape. Let's continue to sort of work on getting things rolling. And then by, he usually says kind of around that November, maybe a little before Turkey Day, you're really turning it up. You got November, December, January. And then you really want to be hitting on all cylinders there at the end. So if I have to pick one, let's be rolling at the end of the year. Let's not give away games early, but let's not worry as much about those as we do mid and end of season, because that's going to be when the division's on the line. That's when a home playoff game is going to be on the line. And when we get in the dance this year, Griffka, and we win a playoff game, yeah, you heard me right. That's when you got to be playing your best, when Ford Field is rocking and when you got something on the line. So definitely second half and beyond.
Right. Wins in the second half are huge simply because you get rolling. I just hope it's one of those things where the first half of the season, I believe the offense is still going to be getting their feet underneath them, and the defense is going to have to carry them. Plus, the first half of the schedule is pretty tough. So, I would go along and say more wins will come in the second half. Plus, hopefully the team's rolling. They got a lot of confidence built up. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're not fearing anybody, and leads them to a NFC North division title and a home playoff game where we'll be sitting there cheering them on as they win that home playoff game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Next question. This is a question from Linda Ballantyne. Will Matthew Stafford ever lead the Lions to a playoff win?
Oh, Linda, another big baller, a big topic type of question. I mean, man, you hear us every week on the Detroit Koolaid Cast talk about this Matt Stafford house. We support him. Like, we really want him to be a top-level quarterback. Does he have to be top 5? No. Does he have to be elite? Not necessarily. But does he have to be better than he's been? Absolutely. Will he ever lead us to a playoff win? Man, I definitely think that's happening. I mean, it's been disappointing, to be perfectly honest, that it hasn't happened up to this point. I mean, I remember those first handful of years, him at quarterback, we were just so enthralled with the numbers he was putting up, the moxie he seemed to have, the ability, and then it was kind of like, all right, we still are getting whooped if we do get to the playoffs. And then the last few years after that, it was kind of like, all right, he's changing his game, he's protecting the football more, but we still weren't able to win the big game. Now here we're at where all those crazy reports came out, Griffith, about him playing with a broken back. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that on a different show, but, I guess I just expect a really different guy this year. He's got a different type of football team, a more solid, more gritty team, and he still has skilled players. So I think before it was one or the other, and usually more just the flashy guys. I think he wins a playoff game in the next 2 years, maybe 3, and then I think the ultimate goal, he's always talked about wanting to bring a Super Bowl to Detroit. I mean, I think we have a 3 to 5 year window for him to get that done, and the sooner the better. So I would love to see a deeper playoff run in the next 3 years than just one playoff win. But yeah, he gets it done pretty soon.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I know get the bell out, but considering we both just predicted a playoff win this year,
right?
So I guess that would answer the question. But like I mentioned on a previous show, I believe the window for this team is opening. It's got a lot of young talent. It's got some nice veteran leadership on it as well. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's like one of those runs where they just catch fire and they just kind of blow through everybody. and where Lions fans just aren't happy. It's like, yeah, we got into the wild card playoff, and then then the next year there always seems to be like a fall off like it has in the past. But I think it's one of those teams, once they become, they get to that level that we're looking for them to get to, they're going to stay there for a bit. And Matt Pat, he could be that coach to take us there, and with sustained excellence, where every year, they dominate. They get a lot of primetime games, and ESPN, starts to love on them a little more than just the backhanded, hey, they're the Lions. So yeah, I believe Stafford will get them there within the next year or two, and then Super Bowl bound. 2 to 3 years.
Real quick before you do the next one, I want to just back up your point. You said it a couple times about the window opening, and every time you say it, I'm kind of like, yeah, we have young talent, but it doesn't feel like the window's opening. It feels like it's sort of been open and we haven't taken advantage. But the more I think about it, with the quarterback under contract and younger defensive players, as well as some skill guys still, locked up and able to do some things, I think you're right. I think the window is kind of just opening for the next 3 years or so. And I think we have the right coach, the right GM, and the right people to take advantage. So let's get through this window, Grifka, because I agree it's opening and right for the picking. So let's do this.
Exactly. Next question. Hey, our boy Frank is back. One Frank Rebel. That's Frank_Rebel. His question is, with a little follow-up comment, what was the Lions' most important offseason addition? He says, for me, it was Darrell Bevel. Improving the offense is the key to more wins. And the addition of a new capologist is very important as well. So what do you believe?
Well, one of my favorite things, there's a couple favorite things. One, thanking Frank for his question. Two, banging on Frank that he asked this question, but then answers his own question. So I always think that's funny. But Frank, I like your take on this because you said most important offseason addition, but most people, we even dealt with it on the other mailbag, was kind of like, Trey Flowers for Grifka. I've got Coleman there in the slot. I love how you said addition, but then you went with the coordinator because, yeah, man, when you really break it down, like, what was our problem on offense? What were people complaining about the last few years? Not imaginative, not really doing anything. Okay, yeah, maybe there were injuries and things that prevented Jim Bob from doing what he ultimately wanted to do. But a new voice, a new system, a system that's somewhat, proven, much more proven than JBC ever was. And I like that answer, man. He's a great offseason addition, and hope we look back and say, yeah, he was the most important. The capologist part, not too worried about that because, all these guys are pretty good at that. The Lions have really dug out of a nice hole. I remember, if you guys remember, a few years ago, lots of dead cap, lots of mismanaged contracts and things. I think we've been really solid with that across the board, not only with drafting young talent, but paying people appropriately. And I think we're doing well there. But, yeah, Darrell Bevel, most important offseason addition. Frank, I'll agree with you, and I'll even give you a Grifka Bell because he usually agrees with me.
Well, since I don't want to agree with you, I think the biggest addition will be all the new players that they put on the defense, like to fill the holes. It's got to be it. I mean, yeah, it was decent. It went from porous to definitely better near the end of last season. But with the addition of Coleman at the nickel, Flowers, those got to be the biggest ones right there, just to shore up those spots on the defense. And hopefully Rashad Melvin, I know we've talked about him before, he's more Darius Slay than he is DJ Hayden. So I think those got to be the most important, just shoring up that defense. No retort?
Sounds good, man. I think we've used it. I agree with you more than a couple times, so I was going to let it hang. But, yeah, good stuff, Grifka.
Cool.
Great answer.
Next question comes from 3 Greg Roberts. That's at NaughtyBoy66.
Are we glad that it's not 3 Mike Roberts? Not me, because Mike Roberts is still my guy. He's still got some ability.
It's okay, man. When you go to pick up your bucket of chicken this weekend, he'll be more than happy to hand it to you.
A few extra napkins, Big Mike.
You got honey in there for the biscuits, right?
Grifka, I get so mad. I try not to go to KFC, but when I go there, not only do they always forget something, But, like, is it really that hard to give me a couple napkins, give me that little thing with the fork in it, and yeah, they know there's a biscuit in there, and you always got to ask for the honey. They like trying to hoard the honey. Like, give me 2 honey packets. Let's go.
The best part is, like, when you're like, can you give me 2? Yeah, that second one will be 35 cents more. It's like, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Come on, really? You know? Come on.
Yeah,
just give me the one that somebody was going to throw away before that they didn't use because they don't like honey. I mean, you ain't losing nothing there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, Greg's question is, pocket presence, getting rid of the ball, has always been an issue with Stafford long before Cooter. Losing fumbles as a result is one of Nine's weaknesses, which he needs to improve on. What is he asking of Bevel to help improve Stafford's pocket presence and better protect Stafford?
Oh, man, it's another really good question. I'm not going to do our whole reset of what we've talked about before, but one of my big pet peeves with Stafford is his pocket presence. I mean, the guy, he seems to get rattled. He seems to get off his spot. You know, he has used his legs, you know, when he's really been rolling. You go and get a first down or get out of the pocket and move forward. But I just want you to dodge some pressure and use that arm of yours and put it in some nice windows and squeeze it in there to some receivers. So I think he's got to get a lot better there. What do you say? What would Bevel do to improve it? He kind of said, man, I think we've been saying it for a couple of years about this O-line. They put resources there. I think they've been good to average. They have not been better than average. They haven't been great by any means. I mean, when you say, Grifka, they haven't been that...
They're not that great.
I think they can be much better. I think you, again, not only knock it, but just sort of don't get it that TJ Hawkinson is really going to help in that area as an extra lineman, as a guy that, okay, maybe he's lined up with the tackle, but then he sprints out up the middle on you and the defense is just absolutely screwed. So I just think a better O-line, the outlet of TJ Hawkinson's going to be huge. And, hopefully that's something Matt Stafford put on his priority list. Like, work on your feet. Everyone talks about it. He seems to be in better condition and better, but quarterback position is about feel. It's about ducking and dodging and sliding up in the pocket and all these things that the greats do that he really hasn't done. I mean, he sometimes will make a play outside, but to me, it's not consistent enough. It's not smooth enough. And I think Bevel will work on that. The O-line and the outlets will be better. And Matt Stafford just has to make that a priority. You can throw it. You can do almost everything else we want you to do. But you've got to get calm, cool, and you've got to be able to move in the pocket or else, it's not going to go well. So it's got to be better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to recap your answer, but I think the biggest thing will be just kind of taking the pressure off him. Shoring up the defense where they're not playing from behind so quickly where he has to come out and do everything. A better offensive line, establishing the run more, making it easier for him to, milk the clock, just hand the ball off. You have a dominant run game where he doesn't have to go out and make all the plays. I mean, it's hard when you're down by 14 in the fourth quarter and the defense just knows that it's like we can pin our ears back and go for it because you need to score quickly. And it's stuff like that gets them rattled. Having the defense, like we said, dominate games, put teams away early where he can come out. We got the ball. We're just going to jam it down your throat. Okay, so we got a 3rd and 3. We can just run a little outlet pass here or some quick hitter to get rid of the ball. Just to take the pressure off him where he's not, has to wait for those long pass routes to develop where it gives, defensive linemen, linebackers blitzing time to get on him. Because like you said, when he gets rattled and when he's I don't want to say out of his element, but when he's back there dropping back 3 plays in a row, when the defense knows it, it's just easier for defenses to get in his head. And I think improving the defense, offensive line, better run game will definitely help him there.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Let's keep this thing moving.
Yep. Question from 5 Wooden Tune. That's at Wooden Tune 2. Just out of the blue, how many O-line do you think Matt, Pat, and Bob Quinn will keep on the 53-man roster? 8, 9, or more?
Oh, man, a good roster question. We just need to, when we get into dollars and cents, I think we'll break some of these numbers down. How many do you keep? What salaries are worth it? Ages, all that stuff. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just thinking out loud. So you got your 5 starters. You got your swing tackle. That's 6. You've got a swing guard or even a center, so that's 7 that you keep. I mean, 7 minimum. I would think we talked a lot about Bo Benchwall on the last show. Gosh, man, maybe they could keep up to 9, to try to keep a guy like that with some upside and it came from a great program, obviously can play. I think it all depends how comfortable they are at the end of camp with that spot, as well as, the other spots. Where do they need a guy? Where do they not? So if I had to go conservative, I'd say probably 8. 9 is a high end, and maybe they get real aggressive and just keep 1 swing tackle, 1 swing guard, and then maybe a practice squad guy. So maybe they go with 7. I don't know. But I'm going to go with 8 in this answer.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with 8.
So
I agree with you. I think the only way they keep 9 is if, like we talked about, like you brought up Bo Benchwell. If he has good tape in the preseason, I don't think he's a guy that you can hide on the practice squad. What the story was, he had 20 different offers. So, everybody knows if you go on the practice squad, you can be instantaneously signed by another team, and you really can't, stop it unless, you want to hide it. You got to put him on your roster. So if he has good tape, even if he might be behind another guy or two in that interior line, if it's one of those things like coaches are like, we can't lose this guy, he would be the 9th guy. Other than that, if it's one of those things like, yeah, he's average, if it's okay if you go somewhere else, yeah, we'll try to put him on the practice squad, but if you signed, okay. I think it's 8, but the only way it's 9 is I think if they keep Bo.
Grifka, is there an echo on your side, or is it just me? Go ahead.
No, I want to agree with you on that. Like you said, man, we're just on the same wavelength. There's nothing to really debate on these questions. They're good questions.
Scary.
They're great questions, but
anytime you agree with me, I'm frightened.
Okay. I'll try to disagree with you on this one then. So
all right.
Next question is from 6 Les's Roar at Les's Roar. Question: what should we expect from Bevel's offense? Now, he did answer it. It says, I'm expecting a Patriot-esque approach where it is fairly balanced, slightly more run-heavy while exposing teams with bad DBs and throwing 30-plus times in 3 or 4 games. That's what 6 Les's Roar is looking at. What are you thinking out of this offense?
I agree with Les's Roar here. I think that, we are going to – it's going to depend on the opponent. Like, there'll be days where we'll grind it out and run the football, 30 times, straight up your throat. There'll be times where we'll spread you out, throw it 40 times, not 30 times. I could see him throwing it 40-plus times against those type of teams that either, as they stated, don't have good corners or, have a good run defense or whatever the case may be, maybe even just to get a quick lead. I know sometimes the Patriots would come out and just take care of an opponent early, by putting up a ton of points passing, and then they can just sort of take their foot off the pedal late in the game and get a victory against some of the teams, they were better than. No, I don't think the Lions are really in that situation. Like, every game should be just an urgent matter to get it done. But, I see a totally diverse offense. I see them doing all types of different things this year with a little bit of a lean, as he said, I think, to the run. I think that the Lions have never done that. This is the time to do it. Carry-on's the guy to do it with. Lean towards running, play action. But, hey, if Matt Stafford's got to throw it 40, 50 times, he doesn't mind that either.
Yeah, what I really like if we go Patriot-esque, what I always like, you watch like pre-games, because once again, big Tom Brady fan, big Michigan fan, so I like to watch Tom Brady play. It's like they play those teams that have like high-powered offenses, and like the pre-games are always like, well, yeah, going to try to run the ball here and keep, Kansas City off the field, Pat Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll go out there, and Tom Brady's just slinging it around, and they put up like 40 points. It's just, I love stuff like that, where it's just like they totally get it wrong because people are expecting, they're expecting one thing. It's like, oh, no, they're going to have to ground and pound. They're going to have to milk the clock. And Tom Brady's just out there chucking it around. And then there's like some other time it's just like, well, they should be able to pass on these guys. It shouldn't be a problem. Their DBs aren't that good. They give up, they're the 5th worst pass defense in the league. And they're like, okay, this is where like the Patriots always use their stable of running backs and just, pound them into oblivion early in the game. It's like, I really hope stuff like that happens, where just like obviously the team thinks like, oh yeah, we're going to have to really cover our defensive backs this time, and this is what we're going to do. We'll leave somebody else in the defensive backfield, so it leaves one less guy in the box, and then the Patriots just come out and jam it down their throat. But the team knows just as soon as they drop somebody, that totally leaves their defensive backfield exposed, and Tom Brady's going to throw all over them. So they kind of have to keep doing that stuff. So I really hope that's what happens this year, as opposed to like, well, their run defense is the worst in the league, so expect the Lions to just ground and pound it all game. But forget it, man. That's what they know. The other team knows they suck on. They can't stop the run, so they can put more guys in the box. Well, don't play into their hand. Go throw the ball around on them then. I mean, they all know it. I mean, the other team knows what they're bad at, so they try to hide it with other players when they know their defense sucks. I mean, God, that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want. I don't want the vanilla stuff. There,
everybody.
I don't know if that agrees with you or not, but I try to be
everybody.
different.
If you missed Grifka's take the first 6 times, he thinks that they're going to maybe buck the system and go against the system at times. There you go. Next question.
See, but my way sounded so much better than your.
Yeah, I liked it the first time, not the 7th. Let's go.
Sweet. It's awesome to hear. Next question comes from 7 Same New Lions at Same New Lions. Will improved cornerback 2 and nickel quarterback play lead to more time for pass rushers to get in Matty P's manufactured pressure system, or will the lack of ability to quickly get to QBs place more pressure on QB2?
Oh, Grifka, I don't even think I heard the question, because this whole time, I don't know what it is. I remember you the first time we had you on the show to now. You're developing this funny radio voice, like when you when you debut their Twitter handles. I don't know what it is. It makes me laugh every time, especially when you do your solo shows. It's like DJ Grifka comes out like you're at the local radio station doing the 11 o'clock to 2 a.m. shift. Oh, man, it makes me laugh.
Okay. Well, I can do this voice for you if you want to hear. Now, put your hands together for Cinnamon coming to the stage. We're going to play a little TY boy. Come on. Get your money out. She'll be waiting for you. Come on. When she was done, that was Cinnamon coming to the stage. Savannah is on deck. Savannah, come to the stage.
Oh, tremendous. Oh my gosh. It's funny. I don't know what it is. I mean, like say, you're much more polished at times than me with pronouncing things and sort of working your way through, but it makes me laugh. And then the bit you just did makes me wonder what you did in a previous life before I knew you. But anyway, we'll keep this thing moving. Let me rethink about this question. Something about the cornerback 2 and the being able to cover when we get pressure, something like that.
Right. Will the improved cornerback and nickel cornerback play lead more time for pass rushers to get home in Matty P's manufactured pressure system? Or will they lack the ability of, hurt QB2?
See, everybody, that was kind of like a Grifka answer. He had to say it multiple times, but to help me out that time. So, well, what's the saying, Grifka? The front and the back work together, when it comes to the defense. You hear Sapp say that. You hear Dion, people say that. I think they're right. I think that, corners are going to help get your pressure there. A great pass rush is going to speed up the quarterback and get the ball out. Neither of which we've been very great at the last couple of years, just not getting pressures, not being able to cover anybody. So I think the corners will help the pressure. I think the pressure will help the corners. So that number 2 cornerback 2 opposite of Soleil, I don't know how many times we got to mention it, is kind of the wild card. But I'm pretty confident they'll have a pretty solid player out there. And last time I checked, it can't get much worse than who Nevin Lawson or your boy Mike Ford out there. So I feel like we'll be better regardless. You could put a, what do you say, one of those cardboard cutouts up there. We might be better.
Yeah. I'm just going to say this. I agree with you on that. Once again, it's scary, but that's enough of that question. I already got to do my other voice for you on this one. So let's knock out a few more questions here before we finish this up. This one is from 10 Greg Roberts again at NaughtyBoy66. How do you feel about Ragnow being at center? He is psyched, by the way.
Well, what makes me laugh is that Naughty Boy 66 wrote in right after you did that impression that you just did. There's some kind of correlation there, I think, with the two. But again, are we psyched about Ragnow at center? I think it was really surprising. I think that I think everybody, when they saw those pictures, didn't think too much of it. And then, he continues to play there. I still think there's a little bit of a chance that they just revert back and maybe he's not playing center. Maybe, this is all just get your reps in when no one cares type of thing, and that he could not play there. I'm not saying I want that. I'm saying it wouldn't shock me, if they just kind of said, okay, you got your time, but we'll put Glasgow back there. You move back to left guard. We'll put Wiggins or whoever at right and just roll with it. And then if we need to change it up in season, we know we can do that. But, I would love to see Frank anchor in the middle. I'd love to see him making the calls. I'd love to see him getting a lot more physical inside. I felt like last year he was kind of defensive, where he was reacting to the D rather than imposing his will, which I'd like to see on the other team. But I'm definitely psyched about Frank at center. That's sort of why I like to draft pick. I feel like center and tackle or left tackle are your two main spots in the old line, and would love to see him in there for years to come.
Yeah, once again, I'm going to give you the word stoked. If he's more comfortable at center than he was at left guard, I'm all for it. And we did see a few games last year where he really seemed to dominate on the run and struggle with the pass, especially with stunts. Now, I know with centers, you have to obviously make the line calls, and there are times where you need to pick up stunts, especially on wraparounds and things like that. But if he's more comfortable at center and can see it better coming, can only help the team. So I'd have to say, if Glasgow doesn't have a problem with it, I think Glasgow obviously can play any of those positions in there. And Ragnall's just I'm more comfortable at this. I can call it out. I can do all that. I'm stoked for it.
Perfect, man. The people, all the Kool-Aid drinkers love it when you're stoked. I mean, again, you're the only person I know that uses that word. But
there you go. Next question comes from 12 Brent 38139 at Brent 38139. I'm dying to know who Brent 38138 is, though. Yeah, that's my number. You got to change it, dude. Somebody's already took that one. Okay. You think he worked his way all the way up from one? No, Brent, love the question that's coming, but just one's already taken, 2, 3, and
he's stoked when he gets to 381. Yes, it's available.
Done. Must be stronger password. Son of a! I'm not gonna remember that.
Oh my gosh, perfect.
Anyways, Brent. This is a great question. Do you think Flowers and Bryant will get to the quarterback pressures, have more sacks than last year? And who do you think will be the starting front seven for the Lions defense this season?
I'm surprised you put Bryant's name in there just because he's a rookie. And as Grifka, you often say, he hasn't really done anything, or he's just a prospect at this point. But he put him and Flowers in there. Those are our starting edge rushers, basically. I mean, last time I checked, Kennard, Aquara, even the interior guys, Ashawn and Snacks and all those guys are really where a lot of the pressures and things are going to come from. I'm really excited to see Austin Bryant. He's a wild card to me of, how do they use him? Is he going to be a great – I think there's a lot of upside with this guy. I've even learned some things after they took him of kind of reading up and seeing the way he plays, got some insight more on that even than I had heading into the draft. So back to his question, I mean, yeah, I think you're going to see more pressures. I think you're going to see more sacks. The numbers will be there, I think, when it's all said and done. But, like you said, more so than sacks, just really create havoc. I'd love to see when you're talking starting, front seven. I mean, not too unique here, but I think you're going to have Aquara on one end. You're going to have Big Trey on the other end. You're going to get in the middle with Ashawn and Snacks there. Your linebackers are going to be my boy Jared Davis in the middle, calling that defense, working his tail off, being a beast. And you're going to have Kennard on one side, who's a edge rusher / guy that can still be stout against the run. And then that leaves one other spot, who is on that other side. I mean, I guess me and you just talking right now, the easy answer is Christian Jones, but the aggressive answer is let's get Tavai in there, baby. Everybody said he looked like he belonged. He moved well. find a way to mix and match him and Jared Davis, and let's get both those guys on the field as well as a rusher. I think you could leave those two guys in the middle and say, okay, you guys cover and tackle. It really frees up both Kennard and Austin Bryant to edge rush. So that's my double dip answer right there. Thank you, Brent 38139.
Yeah, I definitely think there'll be more pressures with this defense and with the talent they've added. And the front seven, I'm with you on that. And I know you've looked at it saying Christian Jones, if you look at his numbers, he wasn't that bad. But it just seems like there was a lot of games like you didn't know he was on the field. So I'm with you, man. Put Tavai out there. I mean, I'm sure like Christian Jones is hungry as well. But, you got Tavai for a reason. Put him out there. Let's see what he can do. If it's one of those things where you think he's better a middle linebacker and you want to put Davis on the outside, because I know there was talk of that before the draft as well, fine, do that. But it just seemed like there were a lot of games last year, like you're looking around, Christian Jones on the field? I mean, what, is he starting? Is he hurt? You didn't know he was out there. So,
and real quick, I know we got a couple more questions and we'll close the show down, but what I love about our linebackers is how big. That was my big thing. Remember when we kind of ran into Christian Jones at camp? That's a big dude, man. Like, Jared Davis is pretty big when it comes to NFL linebackers with the kind of speed he has. Tavai is big. Like, Kennard is a big dude. Like, I love our size and that they're still pretty athletic. You're not going to be, Deion Jones when you have those type of guys, but those guys can thump. They can run and cover. Like, I'm excited about that linebacker core.
Like you said, a couple more questions, and we'll get out of here for today. This one's from 13 Gloria's Daughter at Dat Girl Friday. Do you think Bawden will play at all this year? Dude seems to be injured again and never healed from the injury from last year.
Heck yeah. I mean, before I give a quick answer on this, Gloria's daughter, man, she's a big Lions fan. I always see her on Twitter liking people's stuff, sort of having takes. So we appreciate the support from her and everybody that's asked good questions today. Bawden's my guy, man. Like, I think everybody's just written him off because you haven't seen him, because a fullback isn't that important. And, okay, I think he ripped his knee up. Like, that happens. Like, he's not like it's been 2-3 years he's been injured. This guy's a force in the run game. He's a really big guy for the fullback position. I really hope that he plays well, because if you don't play well in camp, I could see coaches sort of having a quick trigger and saying, oh, I guess we don't need a fullback. We'll put Joe Dahl back there. It's like, no, I want Bawden on this team. I want him pounding linebackers in front of Carry-On. And, you got to make that draft pick worth it, and a big, nasty fullback I enjoy. So, Nick Bawden, big fan. Think you're going to see good things, and surprised that people would sort of be on edge about him already.
Right. I think, they obviously drafted him for a reason. They have to have something for him. But if it's one of those things, like if he's not performing like they expect him to be, he may have the short leash. I mean, not a lot of plays for fullback in football nowadays, it being a copycat league. So
it's not about plays. It's not about like getting him the ball. It's just about him lining up and blocking. It's another great blocker along with our O-line, along with TJ Hawkinson. Like,
right, but
let's kill people.
If you're talking a lot of two tight end sets and you got Danny Amendola out there, I mean, it's just somebody can't be on the field. So
right, but it's just situation. When we're early downs, you're bringing in the heavy sets as needed, and then when we need, we'll spread them out. I think it's that multiple stuff they talk about. But I'm a Bawden guy. The bottom line.
Yeah. Okay, last question, man. Let's wrap this up. Get the final lap bell like they do at a track. This one's from 16 Night Train Lane U at Lane_Night. Tough question. We don't use the cap space. Can we redo a contract to front load it and reduce future cap? This is for you, Derek.
Thank you, Grifka. More than just hey, is this player good? Those are the ones I give to you. I think this is a guy thinking next level. He's sort of thinking, okay, like everyone's saying, who are we going to sign? Who are we going to bring in? They could definitely take this money and use it in multiple ways. They could, make a few players happy, Slay and Snacks, or they could, sort of redo some deals, push some money around. I'd be surprised if they don't do something, because the 20 to 30 million bucks they have sort of just sitting there is way too much in my book. I was listening to a show the other day and they had Dimitrov on for the Falcons GM, and he was saying that his owner tells him to go basically spend right up to the cap. He's like, I'm so lucky I'm not one of those teams where the owner makes me keep like 40, 50 million in the bank and, for a rainy day or unusable. And I don't think the Lions are like that either. I think Bob Quinn's just trying to be smart about the money, and also, always wants to be able to attack something when and if needed. Like even right now, the reason I'm not worried about the holdouts is because the money's there. I mean, push really comes to shove. It's not like we're right up against it and we're just like, sorry, fellas, there's nothing we can do. We'll trade you, or we're going to have to cut you if you're not going to play for what you're at. They have the availability to do something. Now, they just don't want to do it right off the top. You work your way to that. So, yeah, I think they'll use this money to move some money around, could possibly redo some deals, front load them as the question stated. But I think it's more to add a player or to take care of some of these contract issues, or there's some guys coming up. Why not just take care of them ahead of time and get ahead of the curve, as some teams often do too, like Philly and other teams are sort of getting ahead of the curve when it comes to salary cap and money. So I absolutely love it. We'll see what he does. I'm really intrigued by that.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's, like you said, out of the box thinking to be able to do that, where people see like the contract numbers, and I know we have this coming up on our dollars and cents show, how contracts usually, inflate near the end of it, which gives the teams leverage to cut them. But, this amount of cap space there, maybe it is one of those things where the Lions do look to take care of a couple guys and rework a little bit of that contract. Maybe somebody like rework Stafford's contract, something like that. Maybe even Flowers, because Flowers isn't making a whole lot here and it's more backloaded. So it's a great question. Like you said, a lot of fans don't think that way. They just kind of see what's out there and it's like, well, go sign somebody, go get this guy. At this point, that cap space that you have left, there's nobody out there worth that. So, there's guys you have to go sign. But like you said, take care of some of your good boys in-house, make them happy, and go with it from there.
Sounds good. Is that our last one for the day, Griffin?
Yeah, that's it. That's all of them right there. So once again, people keep sending in those questions in. We'll, somewhere down the road, we'll do this again. And I know you guys all probably missed me and Derek arguing. I did get on a tirade about the Lions offense. So you did get a little bit of a rant there. So, there you go. But I really like this. This was a good idea, hearing from other fans that listen to us.
Yeah, agreed. Real quick, Grifka, just because you repeat yourself a million times doesn't mean it's a rant. Just want to let you know, maybe take a mental note, but we will definitely get back to battling it out, I'm sure, as we get into dollars and cents and all our other stuff. I want to take a moment real quick for a couple things. I want to totally thank everybody for their questions. Grifka, I wanted to take a second out before we close the show up and say, it's crazy, man. I looked at it the other day. I think we're at like 130, 140 shows. We have just got tens of thousands of listens and growing every day, which is crazy. Like, we have totally, we went from like never using Twitter, and then once we got this going, say, I guess we got to use Twitter. We got to get our show out there, like, to just be go from like no followers, because all I did was use it to check Lions info, to now be up over 500 for our show account is pretty cool and continues to grow. So I just wanted to show a huge thank you and a shout out to the Detroit Koolaid drinkers. I mean, are you with me on this, Grifka? It's really been a fun ride. We're going to keep this thing going and see how we can grow it, and need the people to help us do that.
Yeah, especially conversing with the people on Twitter, throwing good questions out there. Like I said, when you wake up and you got like, 30 or 40 missed, tweets, that because people are pinging on stuff that you're tagged, and you got to go find them and read them all. It's really, really fun to do that. Yeah,
man. And we're doing all this, like, we weren't really that involved. We were basically just getting the show off the ground last year when the season got rolling. So like, this will be our first season where we can really not only have this audience and these people that we just absolutely love, the fans out there, but be able to talk about the camp and meet up with people maybe at camp. And me and Grifka are going to the opener. We're going to Turkey Day. We got a road trip planned for Green Bay, Wisconsin, Monday Night Football. Like, are you kidding me? Like, all these crazy things on the docket that are all coming up, not only based on the podcast, but just really diving into our passion, which is Lions football in general, and just having fun. Like me and Griff are buddies. We used to go forever without chatting. Now we get to chat twice a week about Detroit Lions. It's tremendous. So just want to throw a big thank you out there. And Grifka, I got one more thing before we go.
What's that?
Grifka, people are listening to this if it just dropped on Friday morning, right?
Yep.
So today at 12 noon is one of my favorite days on the freaking calendar. The Jim Rome Smack Off, Grifka. Like, I've been a Jim Rome guy since, I don't even know, all the way back almost like before, right when I got into college. Really just my uncle actually was a fan, and he told me check it out. And like before I knew it, I knew all the inside jokes. Like I was just in on everything and just loved Rome's style. And I know you're a big fan as well. Grifka, you're a big fan of the Smack Off, right? So it's a tremendous day where the best of the best callers talk junk to each other and Rome crowns a champion.
Yeah, it's the best, like when those best of the best show up and they get run. I love that when he runs them. Dude, you got an invite and you got run. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, everything Rome does is funny. I mean, we try to pull little things from him, or we're hoping maybe down the road we get enough callers that we can have some fun too, where he kind of creates these characters and has, these people that can come on and talk junk, which is super fun. So, Grifka, I do not have a smack off call against you, but I did want to tell the people, if you've never checked out the Jim Rome Smack Off, or if you're a Jim Rome fan but you didn't know, tune in. He's on CBS Sports now on TV, or go old school like I like to do and just pull up the radio feed and listen to him. But I think everybody should check it out, and I think that's really what we want to bring to this podcast too, or like people that love the Lions can have a take that doesn't suck and bring the noise. So Grifka, I don't know. We won't do it now. I was going to give the people sort of the ingredients for a good smack-off call, but maybe we'll do that in one of our shows. We'll tell people what makes a good trash talk, smack talk call, even a good call on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. I'll hit that again of what we're looking for. And maybe me and you will battle it out with a Detroit Koolaid Cast smack off against each other, and then maybe we can get some people involved in the next, as we move down this road. What do you think about that as an idea?
Yeah, this would be very interesting.
The Detroit Koolaid, I don't know. We come up with a good name for it. But like I said, I want to throw that out at the end. It's Friday. This is a big day on the sports radio calendar. Check it out. I know a lot of people think it's crazy, but there's tons and tons of people that take the day off work. They're out grilling just to listen to this Jim Rome Smack Off. It's super fun. So I want to tell the people about it. I'll definitely be one of those off work, have the grill, get some food, sit down for 3 hours of radio gold. And if it's your first time, you might not get all the jokes, but I guarantee it'll still be incredible. And then you'll be hooked for life. So, Grifka, I'm going to enjoy that. I know you got some things going, but we're going to make sure you check that out as well. And I'm not going to run you from this show, but I have one thing that might get you racked, as Jim Rome would say, and that's Grifka. You got anything else for the people?
Nope.
All right. Well, cool. I thought it was a good show. Another good mailbag. I got to take off. Grifka, thank you so much. Everybody that's listening, thank you. We'll check you next week right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. And in the essence of Jim Rome, we're out.
Pack the bags, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.